So guys, hello and welcome back to an MSFS 2024 video. I believe this will be the first 2024 video on my channel so far, and it's lovely. I'm very much enjoying using this. It's looks nice graphics, generally works very well, performs fantastically as well. So in this video, we're going to be taking this Ryanair 777-800NG in front of us over to Cork. Flight time an hour and 3 minutes. This is service FR767. Cruising out 32,000 feet. It's a slightly rainy, drizzly day here in Manchester. It's very busy as well. I'm on VATSIM. See, we've got a company here that's posh. There's a lovely taxi over there, and there's an Etihad 350 about Takeoff. So we've got about 35 minutes until our departure time. So we need to get cracking, really. So we'll have a walk up to the aircraft and head inside and start setting it up. That's better. I am aware how ridiculously loud it is out there. Lovely, we'll head up. To be fair, we might be able to see the Etihad taking off if we give ourselves a second here. It's a bit nice now. There it goes. Now got a bit of peace and quiet. Yeah, I know it's not off the network anymore, but when I get a chance, I'll take it. Away he goes. So the aircraft is in a cold and dark state. It's the first of 4 sectors today. It's going to go to Cork and back, and then over to Prague and back. So we got a lot of setting up to do. There he goes. We shall get cracking. So into the flight deck, pop our bag down. There we go. So first things first, straight away, the safety equipment. We've got the axe present. The landing gear pins are stowed. The landing gear release hatch is stowed. We've got the emergency escape ropes present in both sides, and looking at the circuit breakers, all seem pressed in as none out or tagged, which is excellent. The gear is set to down, the flaps are set to up, which matches the flap position, which is all excellent. So we can get the battery power on. There we go. And ground power is available, so we'll activate the ground power. There we go. Now we'll give that a second to spool up. We'll get some lighting on in the meantime as the aircraft powers itself into life. There we go. We'll do this whole setup quite promptly and try and get away on time from here in Manchester. Get the dome light on as well, because it's a bit cold outside. Lovely, spot on. So, give the second full displays to come on. First things first, we'll do the fire test. So we've got overheat, wheel well, all 3 lights are illuminated. We can cancel the bell and it cancels itself as well, which is good. Got extinguisher bottles, all 3 are full. For the cargo tests, yep, both are identified, got discharged, and both extinguisher bottles are full. Lovely stuff. We'll do the oxygen when we sit down in a moment. We can start with the actual flight check, so we'll do the flight recorder test, which is fine. Make sure that both the Mach airspeed warnings and the stall tests are working. Lovely, both reverse lights are extinguished, the EECs are on, the oxygen's more than 800 psi by quite a way, which is fine, and the passenger oxygen switch is stowed. Service center phone's on, we can get the IRSs to nav, check the leading edge devices, positions, and the PSEU light is extinguished. Lovely, we can get the emergency lights on, check the fasten seatbelts, the cabin chime and the ground call, which is all excellent. We'll get the voice recorder set to on, trim air on, and we'll need wheel well and logo lights in a moment. Fantastic. So we'll grab a seat, quickly do the oxygen. Excellent. Make sure there's no change on the pressure, and there's not, which is good. We can continue the setup. Back of the overheads, lights, just looking for anything that's extinguished, I'm not quite right. Which is all fine, they're all illuminated. Just checking all of the bulbs. Just going down each row. Yep, checking the MCP, everything's illuminated there. The main panel, obviously these aren't, but that's a separate light test switch, so if ever can do that now as well. Yep, lovely. And then coming down to the pedestal, everything on the FMC is illuminated. And the pedestal. Fantastic. Check with dim light works, which it does, and we can cancel the master caution as well. Lovely, good stuff. Get the displays turned up, so we got some bright displays that we can actually see. we go. Lovely. Then on this side, get these up, and then we can start doing our preliminary performance data for departure, and we'll request our fuel. So it's important to note for our flight today, it's very windy. The conditions in Cork are not fantastic. Winds are gusting up to 34 knots with a crosswind. So we're going to take a lot of extra fuel, almost at the max landing weight when we land. So our flight plan is on here, as you can see, which is pretty much good to go. What we'll do first is we'll get some ATIS information requested. So ATIS, we are at Manchester. We can select from VATSIM and we can send that off. And then if we give it a second, we'll also do Cork and send that off as well. So that'll take a second to come back. In the meantime, we'll select the departure charts, which we will need airport and minimums as well as the stands. SID for departure, I believe we're following the Aircloud 1 Yankee today. I'll be 1 Romeo with 2 free rights in use, which I think it is. Lovely, and then we can look towards arrival. So, Cork arrival, I have no idea to be honest, without looking. The Tismo 1 Golf. It's supposed to be further down. There it is, Tismo 1 Golf. We'll do the 1 Fox as well in case you have a runway. Not 1 Fox, another one. Not that one. 1 Romeo. Yeah, we'll do it both of them in case there's a runway change from 16 to 34. The approach currently it's 34, but we can anticipate potentially 16 as well. And airport and parking stand charts available. We'll set the chart style today as well, which is excellent. So that's all good to go. We'll quickly order our fuel. So we do things in 600 kilo increments because that allows for 15 minutes of extra flying time. So we've currently got 5 tons rounded up. We can add 45 minutes worth. I mean, our landing weight is 60.6, with a max weight of 65.3. So we can add up to 5 tons. I don't think we'll need 5 tons. We'll take 45 minutes, as that allows us 45 minutes of holding time should we need to wait for the weather to improve. While I'm saying that, we've got alternate Shannon, which we ideally want to pick Cardiff, which is extra 800. So what we can do then, we'll add 800 and then our 1800 for the 600 times 3. So let's do some quick maths. So we've got 5 tons here, we're adding 800 kilos, 5,800, and then adding 1,800 from there. So that's 5,800, 6,800, 7,400 kilograms. That is maths. Lovely. So, and it'll only be us who dies when that calculation is inevitably incorrect. So we'll enter it into there, and then we'll just have to wait until the fuel truck arrives. In the meantime, we can check our weather data that we requested from Manchester. So it's Charlie. We're using 2 free rights, transmission level 60. Wind 210 at 10 knots, visibility 7,000 meters, rain, broken 3,600, overcast 4,800, sea breeze in the area, 7 degrees, 2.5 km 1021 with rain in the area. So if we go to performance for runway 23 right, the weather 210 at 10 with an OAT of 7 and a QNH of 1021. Lovely, we'll get the runway length from Mike 1, which is the departure intersection that we always plan for at Manchester. So for 23 right, Mike is 2567 meters. Lovely. And then, like I say, we got 1800 plus 800. That's going to be 2600. So I'm just doing maths again. I should stay away from maths. It doesn't never goes well for me. So sorry, I'm just refiguring out the fuel. So 1800 is the extra we're taking, and plus 800 to account for our furthest fuel alternates. So that'll actually be 7.6, which I'll quickly amend in the FMC. There we go, and then we can begin fueling there as well. Lovely. So, including the 2.6 extra tons, our takeoff weight 65.8 tons it will now be. There we go. We'll always default to 22% for the CG with the preliminary calculation. That's absolutely fine to do. And we can set the running condition to wet, and we can calculate that. So takeoff 2, flaps 5, 41 degrees, assume 10 with 10 speeds, which is lovely. Landing dispatch, landing in Cork, runway 34 at the moment, with flaps of 30. Let's head down and get the weather data that we requested. So data link, ATS, Cork Alpha. So 240 at 15, broken 700, broken 2000, 10 degrees 1025. So let's put that in. So 240 at 15, that's temperature of 10 degrees, which means no anti-ice required, and a QNH of 1025. Lovely. So calculate that, that means our maximum landing weight is the structural limit of the aircraft, which is fine. So that's the preliminary performance data all completed. So now we need to do the walk around. We'll do the pre-walk around checks, which is going to have to involve the pressurising the hydraulics, as well as checking the quantities. What we'll do is we'll get FS2 crew open now, which allows us to do that. There we go.
Hi, how can I help you?
Thank you. Lovely. So, we have the service interphone on, which is great. Set that to service. Ground flight deck. Ground flight deck. Ground flight deck.
Go ahead.
Can we pressurise the hydraulics? Can we pressurise the hydraulics?
Roger, you are cleared to pressurise the hydraulics.
Lovely. So they can be pressurised. Then we've got the wheel well light on. The parking brake needs to be set. That is all that good to go. So we can head out now and do our walk around the aircraft. So, welcome back inside. That's the walk around complete. Now we can crack on with the aircraft setup itself. So now we go to the FMC setup. So we'll get the flight plan up. Now it's important to note that I'm using the wing or wing control, they're now called FMC. So if you see a bit of input whilst I'm not looking at it, that's why. I'm not Houdini, I actually have got some hardware in front of me. Lovely, so what we'll do is we'll come down to the FMC. FMC, pausing it, we are at Manchester. We are, I believe it's 55 left, yep, so on 55 left we're on. GPS left, check if the line, so 53217 00216.1, that is a perfect match almost, so we'll put that in. That's the, yep, the IRSs are now aligned, fantastic. So we'll go Manchester to Cork. We are, for this sector, let me just cross out a call sign, Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo. Departure at the moment is still 23 right, and it's the Eclad 1 Romeo. So from Eclad, let's just have a look at our routing, shall we? So we are the Upper Yankee 5-3 to Wallasey, and then the Lima 10 to Pennell, Mike 144 to Bagzo, and then to Tismo for the arrival. That's, yep, to Tismo, and then the arrival is ILS. It won't be. Actually, it will be ILS 34 Tismo 1 Golf. There's no transition at the moment. ATC uplink. That'll be something to do with our startup time. Cost index of 6. Reserves. We're using Cardiff as our good alternate today, so we'll use the fuel for Cardiff. So it's 1.8. Fuel, and then the final reserves is just under a ton, so we'll go with a reserves of 2.8. The zero fuel weight, so we head up 58.4 is our planned amount. 7.6 fuel is fine. We're cruising up at 320. The cruise wind 301 at 124 with an ISO of -1. So 301 at 124 with an ISO of -1. So that'll be -49 degrees centigrade. There we go. We'll quickly cross-check that transition level from the ASUS before. ASUS log Manchester. So it's 060, so we have to add 1 feet to it to make sure that 6,000 feet appears as an altitude and not a level still. So there we go, that is 6,001 feet entered. That's that page done. So 66 tons is preliminary takeoff data. I'll wait, we leave this page for now until we have the final load sheet. It's the NADP2 here at Manchester, so set 1,000 feet. There's both. And the engine out, let me just check on the black box archive, shall we call it, for Manchester. For 2 for us, 1,800 feet. So we can pop that in. The right hand side there, lovely. Descent winds will be at level 310, 200 and 100. We grab them from this flight plan.
Hi, the security and safety checks are all done. Are we good to start boarding?
Yes, please.
Thanks.
Lovely. So if we head down to the wind plates, somewhere down here. There we go. So 302 at 103 and then 303. So 302 at 103 and then 303. It's then 75 knots and then 289 at 54. 289 at 54. Lovely. Leave that one executed for now. We can put some information in for engine out. So it's Manchester VOR for the MSA. It's 25 miles, and if we enter Manchester and then 231 for 23 rights runway heading, that just gives us some engine out information. Fantastic. Lovely, so that's the FMC done for now. We can start with the aircraft setup. We also need to get boarding from GSX because the cabin crew are asking for it, and we do need to get boarding, to be fair, just to be on time, really. Nobody, let's just get boarding straight away. Lovely, so starting from the back of the overhead, the order happening go on, we'll confirm that all these switches are guarded, and the lights are out. The nav transfer display switches are all to essential and normal position. The fuel temperature is normal. The valves are all closed for fuel flow at the moment. We're expecting to open at startup. The fuel, I believe we are finished refueling. We'll just quickly get rid of the fuel truck. There we go. Cabin crew refueling completed.
Departure check completed.
Okay. Fuel pumps can also on. There's nothing in the centre. We'll cross-check, or we'll check the cross-feed valve. So transit
I'm back,
and close.
no issues on the walk.
And I'll just do a light check to make sure that that is working effectively. Lovely. Seatbelts can come on because the fueling is completed. The window heat can all come on. Probe stay off. Anti-ice off. Electric hydraulic is on. Doors are set. Conversion was nothing we need to do there.
Glide slope.
Oh, here we go. He's doing the test.
Pull up. Wind shear.
So look at the pressurization gauge. You got difference pressure is 0, cabin at 0 as well, and the cabin climate is 0.
Airspeed low.
Voice recorder is on. Temperature is 20 degrees, which is fine.
Sink rate.
Get the packs to auto.
Pull up.
Cruise is 320.
Terrain.
The elevation at
Pull
Cork,
up.
I'm not sure.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Too low. Terrain.
Let's have a look.
Too low. Gear. Too low. Flaps. Too
502
low. Terrain. Glide slope. Bank angle. Bank angle.
Just wait till that's finished. Rudely interrupting me.
Minimums. 2,500.
So lights are set. Ignition to the right, which is fine. So coming down here.
100.
QNH 1021 is set.
40.
The elevation here in
30,
Manchester
20.
is 257 feet. So the MFRA is that plus 1,000 feet.
Wind shear.
Hi, here's the
Wind
fuel
shear.
Thanks.
Wind shear.
Welcome. Have a
Too
nice
low.
flight.
Terrain.
So set this to 1,260, rounded up. There we go.
Terrain. Terrain.
We'll need
Pull
both VORs for departure. Fantastic. This can be set to a radial of 253. Left, right, director on. We'll leave the speed for now as we haven't done our final performance calculation. 231 for the heading and 5,100 until we get our clearance. Left, right, director on, and we're going to set 231 as the runway course. Terrain, traffic and airport can be set with both VORs on, and we have the MFR race set on that side as well. Moving down, we can reset the clock from the last flight, 57 minutes, that might have been Paris or something. So it's 1:08 UTC on the 29th of March, and local time is exactly, well, local time is 2:08, which is set. So the transfer switches are normal, checked out already, lights have been checked. We can pull the standby analog gauge to reset it, reset fuel flow, N1 sets to auto mode to RTO. We've checked this already, acupressure for brakes is normal. Transfer switches are normal as well. We can reset the clock on this side and we can cross check that the clock is correct, which it is. Lovely. Coming down, we'll do electric or hydraulic pumps. That's 92 and these have been 84, I believe. That's fine. Engine oil quantity is 17 quarts, a minimum of 12 quarts required, so that's also fine as well. Lovely. So continuing down, trim we can't set right now. We'll check the config horn, which is fine. Frequencies, we'll pre-tune ground because we're going to need that soon. 121855. Lovely, we'll get the 121.5 pre-selected on the right side as well. There we go. Both to VHF1, we'll leave VHF2 audio unclicked for now. Frequencies, we'll need Manchester in both sides, I believe. Yeah, we'll need Manchester 11355 with the ILS set up as a standby frequency in case of immediate return. So that's 109.5. Excellent. That is all set up nicely. There's no ADFs required. That is us pretty much set up for the moment. What we'll do now, we'll go and request our ATC clearance through data link. So we are information Charlie on board. So if we go to departure clearance, we are requesting from Manchester. We're stand 55 left with Charlie on board. I always like hello. And then we're able Mike 1 for 23 right. So we can send that off, and that should come back to us very shortly. We can also check our slot information that we got given before. Yeah, that's fine. Lovely, so I'll wait for a reply on that. In the meantime, we'll get our departure briefing done and get on our way. Here's all the passengers board. We've not really had a chance to look outside really in this setup. We've been trying to get sorted that quickly. Lovely. So, are you ready for a departure briefing?
Go ahead.
So we're flying 777-800NG Echo India Delta Lima X-ray with the old standby analog instruments. The weights for our sector to Cork are across the nix of 6, reserves of 2.8, 0 fuel weight of 58.4, and gross weight of 66 tonnes total, putting us just above the max landing weight. But by the time we take off and do the departure, we should be below it, so we should be able to immediate return. Cruising at 320, the preliminary takeoff data for runway 23 right, Mike 1 is takeoff to 41 degrees June temp, with flaps of 5, speeds 133, 136 and 141 is set. That'll be the clearance information. Lovely. So for the departure, we're going to push back from stand 55 left here.
This way, please. This way, please.
Which is just here. Later to Gulf 3. We have to note that Juliet's actually closed between Gulf 4 and Hotel 2. So there'll be heavy traffic coming through here. We'll taxi out, let it be a Gulf 4 Juliet, either Mike 1 or Juliet 1423 right. Takeoff as discussed, it'll be NADP2 following the Eclad 1 Romeo. Emergency briefing, below 80 knots we reject for any abnormalities, master cautions or concerns. Above 80 knots we reject only for engine fire, failure, predictive wind shear warning or anything the aircraft is unable to fly. In the event of a rejected takeoff, I'll simultaneously close both thrust levers, man the pod at speed brake, apply maximum reverse thrust, maximum manual braking or verify the operation of the RTL auto brake. Bring the aircraft to a complete stop on the runway and set the parking brake. Like yourself to inform the tower, acknowledge deceleration, identify the issue if noted, and get cabin crew at stations when we stop. Okay, so following on with the departure briefing, we will be underweight by the time we depart, so we'll be able to immediate return onto 23 right. The engine out straight ahead to 25 miles at the holding pattern. Acceleration 1800 feet with the MSA at 2400. We should be able to come lead around for 23 right with the frequency set and standby. All going well, we'll be following the Eclad 1 Romeo departure on the NADP2 departure. Straight ahead to 3 miles of Manchester, right heading 272 to intercept 253 regional outbound from Manchester, following until 21.2 miles, with a minimum of 2,500 feet at 8 miles of Manchester, 4,000 at 13 miles, and at 5,000 at 16 miles, unless cleared above. Excellent. All going well from there. Oh. I didn't mean to press that button. All going well from there, we will join our upper airway routing. Just go back to us. There we go. So from there we'll join our upper airway routing on the upper Yankee 53 to Wallasey, Lima 10 to Pennell, Mike 144 to Bagso, and then down to Tismo for the Tismo 1 Golf into Cork, which we can brief in the cruise. We have strong gusting crosswinds in Cork, extra fuel to combat that. The max shear factor on the way over to Crook will be 1, so nothing significant. In terms of significant weather on the en route charts, we have a bit of a headwind for the flight itself. We have icing at 220 in the descent, but nothing else. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay, departure briefing completed. Nationality boarding completed as well. Fantastic. Now, the way he's pushed is concerning me. I do wonder if 23 left is coming into use. So we'll, what we'll do, we'll reconnect. We'll get another ASUS and send that off. What we can also do now, we'll imagine we'll have the load sheet. We'll start calculating the final performance figures. So we have a payload actual of 58.3. So only one less than we actually have. We can activate and execute the routing now, and that activates the performance as well. Takeoff weight of 65.9 tons, which we can put in here. Calculate. We'll quickly just double check the ASUS information, make sure it is still 23 right. Let's give that a second to come through. It's thinking about it. I believe boarding's just been completed as well, which is good. Yep, there goes the music. There is the ASUS. Yeah, so we're on 2-3 left now, which is quite annoying because it shouldn't be. Following real procedure, it should be 2-3 right, but not to worry, we can amend for that. No worries. So what, we'll have to quickly replan this then. So we're gonna go off of 2-3 left. We need the amended takeoff information. I also requested that clearance, and it doesn't seem to come back. We might have to do it ourselves by voice. So 2-3 left from uniform 284 right. There we go. We'll just check the weather. Yeah, that remains the same. Lovely. So we'll calculate that. So it's pretty similar data, to be fair. We'll also need to come down here, do departure, amend it to 2-3 left with the Eclad 1 Yankee, and execute that as well. Lovely. There's nothing further to do there. We'll need to pop the information in. So actually, if we bring the EFB down here, just adjust that mic to make sure it's actually audible. There we go. We can go to N1 limits. It should be takeoff to 41 degrees assumed temperature. OT of 7. Takeoff will be flaps 5 and speeds will be 133, 36 and 141, which doesn't seem quite right, but we'll double check that. So wind 210 at 10. See if it comes out
Hi
as anything
guys, here's the
similar.
load sheet for you.
Thank you.
No problem, have a safe flight.
Yeah, there we go. That's pretty much the same thing there. 133, 136 and 141. And then we can enter a CG now, so 5.56 and we'll enter that. Actually, we can add 0.5 of a unit because we're doing takeoff 2. We've been cleared, there we go. We've been cleared off for 2-3 left. Squawk 3214. There we go. So, we'll go. That's sent off. Lovely. We can come up here now. We'll add 141 as a speed here. 5,000 feet has been cleared now. All thing we need to rebrief is the actual departure for 2-3 left. So amending the briefing for the Eclad 1 Yankee. It's straight ahead now to 3.2 miles and then a right of 283. So no significant difference in the rest of the departure as discussed. Lovely. We do need to do a quick PA, which is part of the checklist before we go. Ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon. Welcome to Ryanair service flight FR767 service to Cork. Flight time 1 hour 3 minutes, cruising at 32,000 feet. We'll be got going for departure very soon. Running slightly behind schedule, but should do well to catch up some delays on the way. Out of the pleasure of flying you today. Cruising at 32,000 feet. We're smooth flight, sailor, bumping Cork, but you have the extra if you'll do that. We do say please give the camera crew full attention for safety to continue shortly, but otherwise please sit back, relax and enjoy the flight around today. Lovely, box text, jobs are good. Right, let's start the checklist. Safety inspection checklist, and before start checklist, to the line.
Thanks for letting me know.
Safety inspection checklist, and before start checklist, to the line.
Safety inspection checklist. Surfaces and chocks.
Checked.
Maintenance status.
Checked.
Battery.
On.
Electrical hydraulic pumps.
On.
Landing gear lever.
Down.
Ship's library.
Checked.
Safety inspection checklist completed. IRS mode selectors.
Nav. Nav. Come on, don't do this to me. Nav. Set unchecked.
Gear pins.
1, 2, 3 removed.
Probe covers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 removed.
Light test.
Checked.
Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Yaw damper.
On.
Nav transfer and display switches.
Normal auto.
Fuel.
.0 required. 7.6 on board. Pumps on. Set unchecked. Set unchecked.
Cabin utility IFE galley power.
On.
Emergency exit.
Armed.
lights. Fasten belts.
On.
Window heat.
On.
Air conditioning and pressurization.
Pax auto. Bleeds on. Set.
Air conditioning and pressurization.
Pax auto. Bleeds on. Set.
Pressurization mode
Auto.
selector. Instruments.
Cross checked.
Auto brake.
RTO.
Hydraulics.
Normal.
Speed brake.
Down detent.
Parking brake.
Set.
Stabilizer trim cutout switched.
Normal.
Wheel well fire warning.
Checked.
Radios, radar and
Set
transformer.
on standby.
Hey guys, all packs are on board. Are we clear to close?
Rudder and aileron trims.
Thanks, it'll be a short taxi. Yes.
Thanks, let me know if you need anything.
3 and 0.
Takeoff briefing.
Discussed.
PA.
Complete.
FMC and CDU.
Set.
N1 and indicated airspeed bugs.
Auto reduced 22k, 88%. Speeds 133, 136, 141. Set.
Stabilizer trim.
5.6 set. 5.6 set. 5.6 set.
Performance weight and balance.
Signed and sent.
Signed and sent. Phones.
Off.
Off. Electronic flight bag.
Airplane mode and stowed.
Airplane mode and stowed. Flight deck windows and cockpit door.
Locked.
Doors.
Closed.
Doors.
Now we're still waiting on the 2 cargo doors. All the cabin doors are closed there. Cabin crew, arm doors and cross jack, thank you. Arm wall. Closed.
Passengers.
Seated.
Before start checklist to the line completed.
Lovely, we'll set onto the ground.
Yankee departure, flight 4772.
And let's get ourselves going.
Fully ready for taxi.
Okay.
Dan 9013, pushing fast.
Ground flight deck.
Alpaca 5.
Go ahead.
Please disconnect the GPU.
Roger. Disconnecting the GPU.
107.
He's away. We just need to wait till this is gone and we can get push and start from ground and then we'll be away.
1 Charlie, San 107, push and start approved, face to west, Zulu Orange.
Face west, Zulu Orange, contract.
Get the appropriate chart up. Try and turn him down a little bit as well. We're also pre-tuned tower 11863.
Hotel 1 via Golf and Juliet.
Hotel 1 via Golf and Juliet, 3945 Alpha Mike.
Sunshine
There we
301,
go.
San 215, push and start approved, face south.
Pushing top. Pace south, Firefly 301.
Imagine I'll run 86 Yankee Echo stand 55 left type 738 with Echo on board. We have the PDC requesting push and start please. Or not.
Runner 86, Yankee Echo, stand 55, push and start approved, face west.
Stand 55 left push and start approved facing west. Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo. Lovely, that's good. Fair push and start. We don't want the ice. Facing west, yep.
Yankee departure with PDC. Request start please.
Let's do the below the line items.
PD58, Echo, Mashkan, hello, stand by,
Before start checklist below the line.
630, bye bye.
Before start checklist below the line. Air conditioning
Runner 4
packs.
Alpha, Mike team for you,
Off.
630, bye bye.
Anti-collision lights.
11830, bye bye.
Parking brake.
Set.
Transponder.
Alt off.
Before start checklist below the line completed.
Okay, looking behind, we look to be clear.
Commencing push.
Perfect released.
Start at wheel.
Oh god, it's very loud. Start sequence is 2 then 1.
Check.
We'll wait till we're behind the line then we can get the engine started up.
Again.
Please confirm it's Lima then Papa.
A firm Lima then Papa, Papa 1.
Lima then Papa 1. Thank you very much.
No problem.
But yeah, it's really coming down now, rain wise. What we'll have to do is we'll have to adjust the performance to include anti-ice now it's raining this much. Which drops it by 1 degree. Which we can pop in. Speeds remain the same, 33, 36 and 41. Start engine 2.
Starting engine 2.
There we go.
ED53 Hotel Uniform,
Ed 2.
Taxi Helicopter Papa 1 via Lima Papa.
N1. All pressure. Feel it. Transit and close or fully open. We have fuel flow, EGT. There we go, we're away. Very wet day here in Manchester.
Correction, taxi stand 3
Starter cutouts.
via Delta Link 3 November.
Number 2 stable.
Start engine 1.
Starting engine 1.
There we go. N2. N1. More pressure. 25, fuel in. Valve to transit. And the fuel valve's open. We've got fuel for only GT. And there's the aircraft spooling up. Or the engine spooling up, I should say.
85, start 6, push and start approved, please. Push and start first,
There we go. We're going quite far back here, actually. Oh, he stopped. There we go.
Starter cutout. Number 1 state.
Lovely.
Taxi holding point. Echo 7
Waiting your confirmation.
So, we have a good start on both engines.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Lovely, so what we'll do in the meantime, we should have read them before pushing, but it's fine. We'll do the weight and balance validation. So if we pop the EFB down here, then we head to the weights page. So weight and balance validation, the critical data confirmation. We got a reserves of 2.8, which cross-checks against the Cardiff reserves. Zero fuel at 58.3. Which cross-checks fuel of 7.6 tonnes on board, and required 5 tonnes, with a gross rate of 65.9 tonnes. That's the weight and balance validation complete. Performance validation. Calculate with a weight of 65.9 for 2 free left at uniform, including engine anti-ice with the METAR as stated. Flaps 5. Takeoff 2. 40 degrees of shooting temp. Flaps 5. Speeds 133, 136, and 141 set. That's the performance validation complete. So that's the performance validation complete. After tug disconnected, we can go through and do the before taxi flows.
58 Echo, start 2 and 3, push and start approved, face west, orange line.
There we go. Set flaps 5. He's away. Give him a quick wave. Flight controls check.
Ready.
4 left. 4 right. Centre. Full up. Full down. Centre. Full left. Full right. Centre. Flight controls check complete. Before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist. Generators.
On.
APU.
Off.
Start switches.
Continuous.
Probe heat.
On.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Air conditioning.
Pax auto bleeds on.
Air conditioning.
Pax auto bleeds on.
Correction. Blue.
Set unchecked.
Isolation valve.
Auto.
Isolation valve.
Auto.
Flaps.
5 required, 5 selected, green light.
Flaps.
5 required, 5 selected, green light.
Stabilizer trim.
5.5 units required, 6.0 set. Set unchecked.
Start levers.
Idle detents.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Recall.
Checked.
Before taxi checklist completed.
Lovely, and I'm just tuning Unicom down here ready for the departure.
ED685.
Oh, we need tower first, don't we? Oh, okay, never mind. That's the cabin ready. Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo, request taxi.
Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo, taxi point Hotel 1 by Golf and Hotel.
What's the 1 via Golf and Hotel, Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo? So, bear in mind the closure here, we'll need to go all the way around to Golf 1 and through, which is fine.
Correction, Firefly 301.
Get the wipers on.
Papa 1 via Echo Lima Papa.
So,
Taxi holding point Papa 1 via Echo Lima and Papa 45.
let's get comfy, get the head tracker on. We'll start the timer for the 3 minutes of engine idling before we can depart. Clear left.
Clear right.
So we checked the config, I got to 70%, which was fine. And I'll set it as 35%. Roughly, we'll have to just get ourselves moving. I'll tell you what, we'll put this back to the tower.
Face west on the blue line,
which is 11863.
Good afternoon, this is Victor Quebec Ramp Officer Sierra Stand 6.
Are you ready for the departure review?
Go ahead.
So the performance is take off to 40 degrees shoot temp for uniform, runway 23 left. The engine out straight at 35 miles, climbing to 800 feet with the MSA 2400, able to immediate return. Departure is the Airclad 1 Yankees, rated to 3.2 miles, right heading 283 to establish on the 253 rail outbound from Manchester. The takeoff is a left-to takeoff, right and thrust, flat fire speeds 133, 136 and 141 sets. Any questions?
No questions.
Before takeoff checklist to the line.
Before takeoff checklist to the line. Config.
Checked.
Flaps.
5 green light.
Stabilizer trim.
6.0 units set.
Takeoff briefing.
Reviewed.
Holding at cabin.
Easy 685, apologies, contact Manchester, 1 minute 630,
Cabin.
Secure.
Before takeoff checklist to the line complete.
55301, contact tower 1 minute 630,
Tower on 18630, thanks very much, bye-bye.
It's jet landing.
85 Yankee Echo, contact tower 1 minute 630, bye-bye.
1163, Ryanair ASUS Yankee Echo, thanks, goodbye. So we'll stop at the hold short marker. Switch to tower.
Via Papa 1, cross runway 23 right, hold Tango 1 behind.
We'll get the chart up.
Landed on Papa 1, cross 23 right, hold short Tango 1 behind.
Tower, hello, Ryanair A6 Yankee Echo, is Mike 1 short 23 right.
Cleared for takeoff.
Ah, never mind.
Takeoff runway 23 left, Tom Jet 586, thank you.
Tower, hello, Ryanair A6 Yankee Echo, is Mike 1 short 23 right.
Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo, Manchester Tower, hello, via Hotel 1, cross runway 23 right, once vacated, hold Victor 3.
The Hotel 1 cross 23 right, once vacated, hold Victor 3, Ryanair A6 Yankee Echo.
Easy 2182, taxi, holding point Delta 2 via
Okay,
Alpha
that's fine.
Delta.
We'll need a fair bit of frost to get going here because the hill this bit, the taxiway is unrealistic.
Tower, hello, Firefly 301,
strobes on.
Papa 3 for 23 left.
Second call
TCAS can go to TARI.
Firefly 301.
55301 Manchester
I
Tower,
say we'll probably need a bit of frost to get going. It's an unrealistic amount of taxi frost, but it's just what you need to get moving here.
3 right, via Papa 1 and hold short Victor 5, Firefly 301.
There we go. So approach is clear on the left and clear on the right. TCAS confirms.
Easy 41 Charlie, Manchester Tower, hello, roger. Stations Manchester, information, Foxtrot is now current, QNH 1019.
Lovely, over we go. It's been very busy so far. It's very busy on VATSIM here. There's not really much chance to chat really, but hopefully we should be getting going very soon. It's always very busy here now since this new Inibuild scenery was released. Should close that, close the thrust off there.
55301, you can taxi straight ahead to Tango 1, behind the departing
Okay,
EasyJet A320,
that's us vacated.
runway 23 left behind.
I'd already made the turn to Victor 5, unfortunately.
Back to Altov.
No worries, bye.
Right, we're looking for Victor 3 for ourselves.
Right, surface wind 210 degrees, 1 more knots, clear to land.
Right, that's on the max 6 Tower.
55301, behind the departing EasyJet A320, line up and wait runway 23 left via Victor Alpha 1, behind.
Via Victor Alpha
We'll
1,
just,
behind the
roll for now.
EasyJet A320.
Let's say we're only clear as far as Victor 3, so there's no point flying down here.
1 Charlie behind
This
you,
is
landing,
Victor 3
Ryanair
just here.
737 via Papa 1, cross runway 23 right, behind.
God, it's a very wet and windy day.
7 cross runway 23 right behind.
Very unpleasant. Here's Victor 3 here.
86
That's
Yankee,
us.
continue taxi, holding point Delta, correction, Tango 1.
Continue taxi Tango 1, 23 left, Ryanair to Yankee Echo. That's good, Tango 1's right here, so Tango 1 is the full length of the runway, which is good. There's no point advancing Frost, there's an aircraft ahead of us as well. He'll be going first, you can just see him there lining up. We'll be following behind him. So there's no point flying around. We're well past the 3 minutes warm-up time.
Easy 685,
So we can cancel that.
Monitor Unicom 122 decimal 8, have a great flight, goodbye.
Okay.
For Tomjet 586, should I be over on Unicom?
Tomjet 586, my apologies, I thought I handed you off already. Monitor Unicom 122 decimal 8.
So here's Tango 1. We're pretty much ready to go, really.
Over to Unicom 122 decimal 8. Thank you
We've
very
done
much.
the checklist, we've done the departure review. We're good to go. We just need to remember the departure itself, straight ahead to 3.2 miles. Then on to that 253 radial.
2182, are you still with me?
From the heading of 284.
Yeah, still with you.
Let's see what's going on. I'm not sure who it is here. It's white.
Contact ground 121.855.
White NG? I have no idea.
No problem, sir.
There's a Ryanair on the rollout over there.
55331, runway 23 left, surface wind 212 degrees, 12 knots.
Set the parking brake.
23 left, clear.
There probably is an EasyJet behind us, but
Ryanair
let's have a
86
look.
Yankee Echo behind the departing, 737 via Tango 1, line up point runway 23 left behind.
Pemberton departing 77 via Tango 1, line up and wait 2 for left behind, Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo. Approach is clear on the left.
Approach is clear on the right.
Before takeoff checklist, below the line.
Stand by. Cabin crew seeks for departure, please. Before takeoff checklist, below the line.
Runway 23
MCP.
right, once vacated, hold Tango 1.
Set. Set.
Transponder.
TARA.
Strobe lights.
Blue Max 6,
On.
Victor Romeo
Holding
Golf,
at landing
press the
lights.
taxi holding point Kilo 4.
So we don't set the landing lights fully on until we've been cleared for takeoff, so we'll just do this for line up for now.
Actually, point Kilo 4 via Alpha Kilo.
There's no rush because we've got to wait till this guy ahead of us is clear anyway, so there's no dire rush for departure.
Confirm you happy with Tango 1.
We'll set the range to 10 miles for now.
Tango 1,
55301, there's no further ATC, monitor Unicom 122 left, line, goodbye.
We are still raining, so we've got the engine anti-ice on now as well.
Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo, runway 23 left, surface wind 212 degrees, 12 knots, cleared for takeoff.
2 for left, clear takeoff, thanks. Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo.
Easy 41 Charlie behind the departing Ryanair 737, line up point runway 23 left behind.
On the behind the departing Ryanair.
On.
Before takeoff checklist, below the line.
6 Victor Romeo, contact
231, 231, timing.
goodbye.
Takeoff. Right, let's go to Cork.
Stabilised.
Set takeoff thrust.
Alpaca 56 Mike Manchester Tower, hello.
Takeoff
fire,
thrust
number 1,
set,
cross from
indications
waiting to right,
normal.
once vacated, hold Tango 1.
80 knots.
Checked.
Manchester Tower, good day, KLM
Throttle hold.
175, established on
Currently set down stick pressure.
We have information, Taco and Neil Manchester City.
V1.
KLM 1035 Manchester Tower, hello, continue approach runway 23 by information, Foxtrot QNH1019, continue approach.
Gear up.
Information Foxtrot 1019, KLM 1035.
Okay, we're climbing, we'll try and pitch for speed. In for V2 plus 10, it's very bumpy. There's a lot of weather on the radar. We shouldn't really fly into the red really, but looks like we're going to have no much choice. There's the plug up point. Plug up.
41 Charlie,
Checked.
runway 23 left, surface wind
Plug up.
2 degrees, 12 knots,
Plug
clear
up.
for takeoff.
Flaps 1.
Speed check.
Victor,
Flaps
Oscar
1.
Sierra behind the departing, EasyJet A319, line up
Flaps
point
1
runway
set,
23 left
accelerating away. There's 3.2 miles. Flaps up.
Speed checked. Flaps up.
This is going to be
Ryanair
very
86
bumpy.
Yankee Echo, no further ATC, monitor Unicom 122 left, line, goodbye.
1-2 Ryanair to check it out, away. There we go. So onto a heading of 283, which we're about to roll out onto now. Maintaining the up speed for the moment as we climb away.
Flaps up. No lights.
Select VNAV.
VNAV.
Set flight level 160.
flight level 160 set.
Wipers off. Set wipers off.
Wipers going off.
This is really quite bumpy. Let's get established on this radar and we'll do after the takeoff checklist. I think the weather radar is so red because it's picking up rain as well as cloud and CB. After takeoff checklist.
Stand by. After takeoff checklist. Air conditioning and pressurization. 2.7 set. Altimeters
Set standard.
checked.
Climbing flight level 160.
After takeoff checklist completed.
Okay, we've stable the little ones now. We'll keep the cabin crew seated for the moment, I think. As we climb out of here. To be fair, I was looking at better now. You can release the cabin crew.
Okay.
Nice. That's this is going okay at the moment. Fun is nicely. We'll just keep climbing away. So it's a very busy departure there. Just to explain sort of what happened. Obviously we rotated, we're aiming for initially 15 degrees and then we adjust for speed, V2 plus 20 knots thereafter. We've climbed down to 1,000 feet, following the NATP2 we've pitched down to accelerate at up to the flaps up speed from 1,000 feet, aiming to be clean by 3,000 and then 3,000 set to VNAV and away we climb.
Altimeters.
There's 10 checks, 10,000 feet. 10 checks.
10 checks. Fuel 4. Pumps on. Lights. APU. Air conditioning and pressurization 4.1. Fasten belts. Happy to release the cabin. Recall 121.50.
No thanks.
Jet 2. Okay.
So we'll keep the cabin seated for the moment. Oh, there we go. Just bursting through the cloud layer there. Trying to get ourselves trimmed out. Looking at pressurization, so releasing back under pressure. The difference was rising, cabin arms coming up as well. Different with the cabin climb set. We'll keep anti-ice on for the moment until we're clear of all this. Select commando. Select commando. Lovely. We're on our way. So we're overhead Eclad now, we'll do a fuel check. So we've used 800 kilos, we have remaining 6.8. So Eclad used 900 and remaining at 4 tons. So yeah, we're absolutely fine on fuel burn. We'll continue climbing away, and to be fair we can probably release the passengers very soon because we're mostly clear with the weather now. Climbing away nicely. We'll continue our climb. We'll set up to 280 for now. I'll imagine we're being cleared up. Lovely, I'm happy with that. Release the passengers. And then we'll get on our way towards Cork. So guys, welcome back. You join me in the cruise. We're currently at level 320 or 32,000 feet. Cruising very slowly because of this very annoying headwind of 113 knots, which is absolutely not helping our on-time performance, but never mind, not to worry. We need to plan our arrival. I'll be doing a bit of the groundwork around it as we've been flying, as you probably see in the time lapse. Now, we need to start actually planning it and then putting it. So there's been a runway change now. We are runway 16 in use. It's just changed round. Just became a very, very, very slight headwind for 16. Only just. It's still an 80-degree crosswind from the west, so not ideal, but you know, we live. The weather currently is a Vision Bravo, winds 240 at 15 knots, broken clouds 700 and 2,200, 10 degree temperature, QNH 1025. So we can, you know, we can live with that. It is meant to become gusting 34 knots in the next hour, so you know, it would be a my luck. It will happen right as we land. But you know, hey ho. So we'll put the information in. So 240 at 15 remains the same. It's 10 degrees, QNH 1025. So that's absolutely fine. The arrival fuel is 5 tons, minus 700, so that'll be 63.3 for our arrival weight. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll amend quickly for runway 16. There we go. Now be VATSIM 1 Romeo. There we go. So a little bit less now actually, so it'll be 63.4. Now we'll try flap 30, see how far we go with that. It's a very short runway, it's 2,100 metres. Not very short, but it's short. Shorter end of comfortable, let's say. I've got it as, yes, the orbit 3 is pretty much the full length of the runway. What's maximum? A good portion of the runway length. We'll set ultimate max, and then we can always knock it down to 3 if we touch down early on the runway, just in case we float it. It means we can still get down. And to be fair, we have to backtrack anyway, so the faster we decelerate, the better, really. So we'll leave it set as max, which is fine. We can now go across through the charts. The arrival now is the Tismo 1 Romeo. Tismo, Givol and Barnu. So check Tismo, Givol and Barnu. Flight level 80, flight level 060 and 220 knots and 3,000 feet. And to Roval at 3,000 feet, which is fine. And then in for runway 16, which is absolutely fine. Good stuff. And then ILS 1116, we got the frequencies and the courses. Minimum 677, which, bear in mind, we have lovely. So yeah, bear in mind we have a few clouds are broken at 700. That could be very close. Have to bear that in mind as we make the approach. We get configured nice and early and prepare for an IMC or instrumental approach. There's a free glide slope onto runway 16. The arrival is 16, and you can see we need to backtrack at least to this crossing runway to vacate. So ultimate max should do us nicely, hopefully, to come back and get off. Fuel alternates and stuff. Shannon is complete write-off, gusting winds all day. Gatwick remains usable, as does Cardiff. We'll keep Cardiff at 2.8, and we also have Dublin at 3 tons to bear in mind as well. So we'll come back down to the FMC, finish our setup. So we'll go with flap 30. And so I don't want to do flap 40. I mean, I think because of the length of the runway, flap 40 makes sense. However, flat 40 is a much bigger lift surface. It picks up a lot more wind. So if there's wind gusts and stuff like that, we'll be affected by it a lot more. So we'll stick with flat 30 because of the crosswind. Alternates, as I said, Shannon, but it's a write-off. We have Dublin available. We have Cardiff, which is our main sort of thought process, really, and Gatwick. Wick's the Hail Mary option. It's miles away. It's longer than the flight itself, but it's good weather. So we can if necessary. Forecast is 10 degrees, so -5. The local QNH, let me just double check. 1025. We're probably going to miss our top of descent, but it's not the end of the world. We can just expedite our descent afterwards, that'll be fine. We are a bit late anyway, so it'll work well for our times regardless. The fixes will be for runway 16 now. It'll be 5 and 10 miles with a descent ring of 30, 60, 90, 246, 96 miles. And the MSA is about the Cork VOR at 25 miles. So that's all set up nicely. Let's do the aircraft setup. So the elevation is 500 feet, which we have set already, that's fine. Lights are all fine. Coming here, we need 1025, I believe it was. There we go, the minimums, I believe it was 677 feet, is that right? Yeah, 677. Which we can set. There we go. Lovely, so coming along the courses of 164 from the 16. We'll set both VORs in standby as well, so we can choose the Cork VOR. So 164 on this side as well, on both VORs. The bar ref is ported across, which is fine. We need to set the auto brake to level max for the moment, with the option, like I say, we can decrease it on touchdown if we touch down nice and early. Lovely. Continuing down frequencies, we want to set the ILS of 1099 and Cork in standby. So we can do 1099. And what's Cork? 1146. Which is set. Lovely. You have control?
I have control.
So I'm going to open this speed window just because it wants to send us in a minute. We don't really need to, like, ideally for the most economic descent we would, but I'm not too stressed about that really. We can just descend a little bit faster speed and we'll catch it up nicely. So for the approach briefing then. Are you ready for the approach briefing?
Go ahead.
So flying into Cork, the weather is not amazing. Currently 240 at 15 knots, it's a 15 knot crosswind. We have winds gusting up to 27 knots and becoming 34 knots at the same angle of crosswind at a 80-degree angle to the runway from the west. Its currently visibility is 9,000 metres with drizzle, scattered at 700 feet, broken 1,200. Temperature of 10 degrees, no anti-ice required at the moment. Similar weather at alternates Cardiff. It has had gusting winds earlier today, but there's a little bit of a gap between now and 5 PM. So we can use Cardiff as an alternate as well as Gatwick, which is only gusting at 26, which is a lot more reasonable, and it's straight down the runway. Shannon is our nearest alternate, but it's got gusting winds up to 31 knots pretty much all day. And Dublin similarly is gusting up to 30 knots with a 50-degree crosswind, so not ideal. We'll stick with Cardiff and Gatwick as our primary alternates. We have Cardiff at 2.8 tonnes, we're due to land with 5.1, so we have loads of extra fuel should we require it. Our arrival routing is Tismo and Romeo, through Tismo, Goval, Barney and Roval. We join the ILS at Barney. Frequencies 1099 set on both sides, courses of 164 set on both sides. The minimum 677, air elevation of 500 feet which is set, and the MSA at the Cork VOR highest set is 3,900 in the top left corner. 3-degree glide slope with the missed approach straight ahead to the RNAV procedure Crook 029, climbing to 4,000 feet. Left to the VOR of Cork and enter holding. So straight ahead to the RNAV point essentially. Landing will be flat 30, auto brake max with a potential go down to 3. Need to backtrack and probably vacate either Charlie or onto 0725. Not sure on a stand at the moment, we'll allocate that closer to Cork. Lovely. If the approach goes wrong due to the winds, we can probably try again. And thereafter we'll have to wait for an improvement for the winds following the Ryanair stop. Any questions?
No questions.
I have control.
You have control.
Descent checklist.
Descent checklist. Pressurization.
Landing altitude 500 feet set.
Pressurization.
Set unchecked. Set unchecked.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Approach briefing and fuel
Discussed.
checked. Indicated airspeed and altitude.
VREF 146, minimum 677 feet, checked and set.
Descent checklist completed.
Lovely. We'll begin our descent. So what I'll do now, I'll show you a little trick that I use to keep on top of descents when you're a little bit high. So we'll begin our descent, we'll set level 150 for the moment. You'll see it'll start to slow back. You see at the moment we're 3,500 feet above the descent profile, but if we go to descent, then we push this in to be VNAV managed speed. What we can do is if we do Mach 0.72 and then speed 275, you'll see it'll come up a bit. So now all we need to do really is recalculate this until we get a descent profile that works for us. So let's try 300 knots. So that's too much. So we'll need to do, let's try 285. There we go. So that's 1,000 feet difference. And we could try 290. Lovely. So there's only a 500 feet gap there, and by the time we descend and accelerate, that should match up quite nicely. And we can maintain a descent profile using that. So that's a little trick that I use just to get yourself back on profile if you end up high, either by your own actions or by ATC restriction. It works quite nicely. So there's level 300, we'll set the bank angle about 25, pressurization check, so we've got cabin descent, differential pressure is 7.4, cabin out 6,000 feet, auto 320, 500, please feed in the packs for adequate duct pressure. Lovely, let's descend into a very blustery Cork. So, welcome back. We're just about to pass through 10,000 feet and do our 10 checks again. Just overhead Tismo now, about to begin our descent down into Cork. Well, our final descent I should say. So this is the start of the arrival. We'll do a fuel check because we are due. So let's just head down to Tismo. There we go, 2.4 and 2.6. So fuel used will be 2.4, lovely, and 5.2 including the extra. So that's absolutely fine, spot on. There's 10,000 feet.
Altimeters.
10 checks.
10 checks. Cabin crew 10 minutes to landing. Fuel 4. Pumps on. Lights. Angle of bank. Air conditioning and pressurization.
Checks. The differential pressure is 3.8.
3.8.
Cabin descent. Differential
Recall
down.
41.50 deselected.
We'll get rid of VHF2 as well. Lovely. Spot on. Down we go. We'll leave the RTS on for the moment because we're probably going to hit these clouds here before the total air temperature rises above 10. So we'll leave it on for now. Now we do need to be slow overhead give all, because we're going to have quite a steep descent after that. So we go from 6,000 feet to 3,000 feet here in that very short 8-mile gap. So we need to be ready for that. Speaking of which, we'll set 3,000. Set altimeter 1025. There we go. It's just going to dive itself down to get back on profile. There we go. Let's have a little nosy outside. As much as the wind and the weather and the storm make flying quite difficult, it's very fun, and views like this are always very nice to enjoy. There we go. So yeah, we're hitting this cloud here, and the total air temperature is not at 10 degrees yet, so technically it is an icing condition. So we'll leave the anti-ice on until that rises persistently above 10 degrees. Now, we'll need to be doing the approach checklist and the approach briefing soon. To do so, we'll use a tool that I greatly like. It's Frisk. Now, those of you who use FS2 Crew and SOP2 will be very well aware of it. It consists of Frisk, which is frequencies, rings, identifier, standby instruments and courses. It just confirms that everything is as you expect for the approach. So, in all fairness, we can do that now. Frisk.
Frequencies 109.90. Rings runway 1610 miles. Idents India Charlie Sierra and India Charlie Sierra. Standby instruments set. Courses 164 and 164. Frisk complete.
Lovely. So there you go, just runs over everything that we expect to be met for the approach criteria. Approach checklist.
Approach checklist.
Get a bit of speed break in here.
Instruments.
Set and cross check.
Approach aids.
Checked and set.
Approach aids.
Checked and set.
Approach checklist completed.
Lovely. So you can see that the speed's creeping up a bit there as that wind comes around. So we'll get a bit of speed break in just to keep it under control, and we're going to need that steep descent in a sec as well, so we really don't want the speed to be any higher than we need it to be. It's going to be a very bumpy approach. I wouldn't be surprised if this landing is quite firm. So it's not to worry if it is firm, as long as we're not a hard landing, that's fine. So we can see there's something interesting here we can talk about in the meantime. This is the vertical situation display. So you can see essentially our margin for error in the track vector there. This is our descent profile and our levels we need to be at. Ignore that, that's just the cabin saying that it's secure. Down we go. So you can see there we're aiming for 3000 at Roval, which will work out quite nicely. Or should do. To be fair, we can probably get rid of some speed brake now. That speed is under control quite nicely. Cork traffic, Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo is to Banu, base leg ILS 916, Cork traffic. Lovely. So we'll set the FMC to the approach page, the speed and VREF cross checks, which is good. Lovely, we're nearly there then. We'll get ourselves configured nice and early for this approach. Flaps 1.
Speed checked.
We can also get the anti-ice off. We'll need the start switches continuous now, we're close enough, that should be fine. Need a bit of speed brake to keep the speed under control. And here's Barney, we'll be turning on to final in a moment. Now what we need to bear in mind is we don't want to go too slow, because as soon as we've made this turn, this headwind becomes a crosswind, so our speed will drop. So really we can get rid of the speed brake now, and as we make this turn our ground speed will go up and our airspeed will drop. We'll set heading 164 for runway heading. There we go. Really we can arm the approach now as well. We need to intercept this glide slope, so let's get the vertical speed in play. Flaps 5.
Speed checked.
Bit of speed brake as we go down.
Flaps 5.
Flaps 10.
Speed checked.
We'll do flap 10 for a bit extra drag to get onto this glide slope.
1 to go.
Set the airport elevation to 1,000 feet until we're established. There we go. So you can see that speed, that wind becoming a tailwind there has really screwed with us a little bit. This could be a missed approach because of that. It's given us a really high energy state from being a fairly controlled energy.
2500.
Wait for the glide slope. This might work out, to be fair. There we go. Gear down.
Gear down. 1 to go.
Flaps 15.
Speed checked.
Landing checklist to flaps.
Landing checklist to flaps. Start switches.
Continuous.
Flaps 15. Recall.
Checked.
Speed brake.
Armed green lights.
Landing gear.
Down 3 green.
Auto brake.
Max set.
Holding at flaps.
Flaps 30.
Check speed. Holding at flaps.
Flaps 30. Flaps 30.
Speed checked. Flaps 30.
30 green lights.
Landing lights.
On.
Landing checklist completed.
Cleared. Right, here we go. So, this might be a little bit bumpy, but we can just do our best. That wind's no longer a tailwind as we're going to come over the threshold. It's doing alright, to be fair.
Feet.
100.
Terrain.
Minimums.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Speed brake up. Reverse is normal. 4. 6. Descent. 100 knots. 80 knots. 60 knots.
On your brakes.
Checked.
Well, that was fun. That was very bumpy.
Another on-time flight. Until next time, thank you once again for flying Ryanair, Europe's #1 airline for low fares, on-time flights, and great care. We look forward to welcoming you on board again very soon.
There we go, we made it just about. That was very bumpy. We did a hell of a lot of aileroning to keep it level into wind. A lot more than really you'd need. But that's just the joys of the PMDG. We're down though. Just about. Very bumpy landing. Fun though. It's always fun to do a nice crosswind land like that. Nice and bumpy, but very fun to do. Okay, we are standard 1-1 here, I believe. So we can go all the way back at the runway here. Standard 1-1. So there's no need to vacate here. We can go all the way back at the runway and vacate at the end. Which should work well for us. That was very fun, very interesting, but very fun landing. Very bumpy. Yeah, that wind becoming a headwind. I expected it to become a crosswind, but not a tailwind. That really messed up our energy state there. That made us have a very high energy on approach, but not to worry, it worked out okay, and it was all stable. The descent rate was a little high on final. You could argue borderline unstable, but it wasn't prolonged to maintain the glide slope. It was just intermittent drops. So bearing that in mind, it's alright. Okay, I'll vacate here at Charlie. Lovely, and it's stand 1-1, so it's just left here and then right up to stand 1-1. So Charlie and apron stand 1-1. Cork traffic, Ryanair 86 Yankee Echo, runway vacated Echo, taxi stand 1-1, Cork traffic. Very good. Yeah, that was very bumpy, particularly the rollout. The touchdown wasn't too bad, but the rollout, the amount of aileron needed was crazy. Here's 1-1. Lights out. Marshal in sight. Lovely.
3 minutes.
Park brake set. Lovely. So 2 blue, 1 red, 3 minutes has passed, engines are dead. Lovely, so work through the flows. Passengers released, voice recorder 2 on. Isolation valve open, anti-collision light off once the engine's spooled down enough. You've got good hydraulic pressure, which is fine. Engine oil quantity remains fine as well. There's just about past 20%, so we'll get that off. Engine starts, ignition to left. Can reset that. Stop the clock, stop the block time. 2000 on the squawk. There we go. Transit shutdown checklist.
Electrical.
On APU.
Fasten belts.
Off.
Probe heat.
Off.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Voice recorder.
On.
Air conditioning packs.
Packs auto, bleeds on.
Air conditioning
auto.
packs. Engine bleeds.
On.
APU bleed.
Off.
Exterior lights.
Steady and wheel well set.
Exterior lights.
Steady set.
Start switches.
Off.
Auto brake.
Off.
Speed brake.
Down detent.
Flaps.
Up no lights.
Checked.
Up no lights.
Parking brake.
Set.
Start levers.
Cut off.
Weather radar.
Off.
Transponder.
2000 standby.
CVR CB.
In.
Cockpit door.
Unlocked.
Transit shutdown checklist completed.
Cabin crew disarm doors and cross check. Let's get deboarding up. Cabin crew clears open doors. Lovely, welcome to Cork. That can go off, I don't know what he's doing here. He's doing the after landing procedure for some reason, I don't know why. Let's just kill that. Just make sure he's not touched anything he shouldn't have. Yeah. There we go, it's fine. Lovely. Right, welcome to Cork. Let's have a little nosy outside. Very nice. There, that was a hella bumpy landing. But we made it, all stable, all within parameters. Just about. We'll get the aircraft deboarded, and then this aircraft's heading back to Manchester, and then on to Prague and back. So, nice long day of sectors. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It's not often that I upload anymore. It's becoming a rarity, to be honest. It's only when I get time to do it, really. And when I fancy it, 'cause it's not very often nowadays that I do a flight and have the time to do this as well. Because it is quite tiring to do alongside a flight, especially when you don't get to fly very often. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see more things like this, particularly in 2024 and with the PMDG, please do let me know. If there's anything else you want to see, please let me know. pop in the comments, and I'll see what I can come up with. That being said, that's it from myself for now. Please, don't forget, feel free to like, subscribe if you like, and keep checking up. I'll no doubt be back soon enough. Right, thanks for watching everyone, take care, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and ta-ra.